All right, hey everyone, welcome to week number 3 of the 6-week SEO challenge. Excited to have you on here. We're almost halfway through. After this, we will be halfway through, and we're talking about one of my favorite things, which is on-page optimization. Gets a little technical, but not too much. As you know, my company is called Window Treatment Marketing Pros, and this is a partnership with the Custom Home Decor Network. If you are not a member of the Custom Home Decor Network, I encourage you to check them out, customhomedecornetwork.com, of course. Fantastic group. If you do have any questions, make sure that you post those in the chat area, and I will do my best to answer those while we are on today's call. And then at the end of today's call, or if you're watching this in a recording way and not live, this link will work, bit.ly/WTMP 6-week tasks will get you to all of the homework from weeks 1 and 2, and along with number 3, which I will post out there shortly after this live presentation is complete. So excited to have you on today. And we are going to be talking all about on-page SEO. So I am going to cancel this and see if I can't move us to a live website. I think that might be the easiest way to show you something. So I'll start with our website, wtmarketingpros.com. There's a couple things that are really important when it comes to on-page SEO or on-page search engine optimization. 3 very important pieces, and those are, first of all, your title tag, which shows up here in this at the tab at the very top of the page. In this case, ours is Window Treatment and Outdoor Awning SEO Marketing Pros. Yours would be something like Seattle Window Treatments, Seattle Custom Window Treatments, wherever your location is, something like that. That is basically the #1 keyword, and I'd probably use the word coverings in there as well. Obviously, if you're on the awning side, then awnings would definitely want, you definitely want that in there. Awnings, canopies, things like that as your main title tag. Now, speaking of title tags, every page has its own title tag. So if I go over here to our About Us page, it's not going to have the same title tag. It's going to have a different one. In this case, about our agency, Window Treatment Marketing Pros. So pretty easy, pretty straightforward, but every page on your website should have its own title tag. Now, in the back end of WordPress, to control that, what we use is one of 2 plugins. One is called Yoast SEO. That's Yoast SEO. It's very popular. And the other one is called Rank Math, RANK Math. Either one of those, you don't want to install both. You want to install one or the other. We've used Yoast for years, and now are starting to actually migrate a lot of our clients over to Rank Math. I find that it's a little bit more robust, offers a little bit more different things that it'll do with one plugin versus downloading 2 or 3 to get the same thing done. But anyway, so here I am editing the back end of my homepage. So you'll see a lot of the same stuff here. It might not make a lot of sense, but here's the headings, here's some of the copy along with a video, things like that. What we're interested in is way down here. In this case, I'm using the Yoast SEO plugin. And this is where I can control my title tag. So that is where I control that. If you do not have Yoast or Rank Math or something like that plugged in here, then what WordPress does by default is uses the title of that particular page. So in that case, my title tag would be home, which is horrible, waste of perfectly good keyword opportunity there. So with this plugin, I can name my page home. So when I'm looking through all of my page titles, I know which one it is, right? It just says home. So I know that that is obviously my home page. So I can edit the page title in that particular area. Oh, gotta wait for it to load. SEO title. Yoast and Rank Math both have this cool little thing that shows up here that as as you're typing, it changes from orange, and then it goes all the way to green once it's good. And if you keep going, it will actually give you a red, which means you're over the allotted characters. So you need to be somewhere in the 70 character range, something like that. Mine's probably closer to 60, but good enough. I could probably add the word coverings here, as I mentioned. That would be good. So that is the title tag, and it shows up, as I said, in browser tabs at the top. If you shrink it down, and then you're looking down here in the footer, it shows up down there as well, if that's the active tab that you happen to be on. But this is a good signal to Google about your website. It's the first thing that it reads and says, okay, what is this particular page about? And of course, I put my top keywords there. If I were building a page that was all about awning manufacturing in St. Louis, then that would be the title tag for that page. It would be something related to whatever that page is about. Now, what you don't want to do is repeat words. So you'll notice when I updated this title tag here, window treatment / coverings and outdoor awning SEO marketing pros, I did not repeat the word window. So I didn't need window treatment and window coverings and outdoor. That would have been too long, first of all. But there's no reason to repeat words. So if somebody types in window coverings SEO, I have a good chance of ranking for that because those words are in this order. No reason to repeat them. Google's smart enough to know how words work together. So that is page title. For most of you, that is the first thing you need to edit, and that needs to be done for every page on your site. Every page needs to have its own unique title. All right, secondly is, oh, you know what? Let me show you something else. When you do a site : and then I'll do mine, wtmarketingpros.com, site : and then some sort of domain with no spaces, basically says, hey, Google, what do you know about this particular website? Show me how it shows up in the Google index. Okay, so here it is right here, and you can see that this is my title tag. So I can actually influence how my search results show up. Now, if somebody's typing in window treatment SEO, now I'm up against 9 other people, but you can see here's my title tag. Of course, we rank first, which is great, but my title tag on here shows up and goes against all of these other guys, my competitors, basically. So when you're considering writing page titles, you need to make sure that it matches the page, it has the right keywords in there, and that it makes sense for somebody who is doing that particular search. Okay. Secondly, the meta description. So this again is right here, and it is about 2 sentences that explain what this particular page is about. Now, there's been a lot of talk over the years about, does a meta description influence your SEO rankings? Most people say no. However, when you use some sort of a ranking tool to judge what's working well and what's not working well, or what's optimized on your site and what is not, they always say you need to have keywords and things like that in the meta description. Here's why I think that is. When I'm doing this search, window treatment SEO, and I've got myself and a bunch of competitors, this is my meta description. So it would make sense to me to match that up to whatever somebody is searching for, right? Since I want this page to rank #1 for window treatment SEO, it makes sense that those words show up in my description, even if Google is not using them in part of the overall algorithm. Still makes sense. And you can see that they bold those words, which is fantastic. That draws my eye to it as a potential customer. Oh yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. They have those words in here. It makes sense, stuff like that. So the meta description should describe what the page is about, but Also integrate some keywords that you think somebody would be searching for to find that page in the first place. You'll find it's not terribly easy to put keywords in here sometimes. And you'll also notice that, as I said, window treatment is over here with the word SEO way at the end. I'm still ranking and those words still show up so that you don't have to put them in that exact order. Although a lot of these tools will say your keyword doesn't show up in your meta description. It's just because it's in two different places, it still will count and still will work. So meta description is very important, as I said, because that's what shows up here. So you can control your title tag. You can control that description underneath. 2 sentences, what that page is about, but it needs to be compelling. It needs to match what the person is searching for to get them to click this one versus the other guys, right? So that is very important. It's called the meta description. These are the 2 things in this Yoast SEO area that are very important and that ultimately kind of sort of control Google, what Google shows. Now, one thing you will notice that if you don't put a meta description in, let's see if any of our competitors have not put one in. Doesn't look that way. Looks like everybody's got them in. Let's go to page 8. See what's going on here. Here we go. Here's one, accentverticals.com. So these guys, if you look at their meta description, it's just this random stuff. This is not compelling. This is not exciting. And what happened here is there is no meta description on this page. So Google just grabbed random text, and you can see this is probably their navigation, and this is probably their footer, right? This is just stuff in their footer. So it's horrible. It doesn't work well, and it shouldn't, because that company left it blank. Google's trying its best just to grab some text off the page to put something in there, but very detrimental overall to your success in SEO. This happens a lot. When I get a client or a customer who is needing SEO, a lot of times there is no meta descriptions on their pages, and that's really hurting them ultimately. So meta description and page title, 2 very important pieces when it comes to on-page SEO. And again, every page needs to have its own title, every page needs to have its own description. All right, the last piece of this is the heading tag. And heading tags work kind of interesting. Let me see if I can HTML. So there are 6 main heading tags, H1 through H6. And yeah, this isn't a great example here. If you consider maybe the front page of, or the front of a printed newspaper. All right, I'll use my paper here in town as the example. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch. If you hold up the front of that St. Louis Post-Dispatch, St. Louis Post-Dispatch is really big across the top. That is the H1 tag. That is the main heading for that page, or for that piece of content, if you will. Then there's going to be a big article about whatever the biggest news is of the day. That is probably an H2 tag. And then there might be other articles on the home page or the front page of that newspaper that have smaller headlines, and those could potentially be compared to an H3 tag. Websites are the same way. So when you look at a website, whether you realize it or not, they should all have heading tags. For us, this is our H1 tag. This is the most important heading on our website, or on this home page. So lead generation for window treatment and awning companies. I could probably put the word SEO in there, or SEO and lead generation, something like that. But this is the heading tag. A lot of times people match heading tags to title tags, and that's perfectly fine. I like to switch it up a little bit because there are other opportunities here. As you can see, my title tag, window treatment, outdoor awning, SEO marketing pros. This has the phrase lead generation in it, so I could actually try to rank for something like lead generation for window treatment companies or for awning companies. something like that. So I like to switch it up a little bit. Don't necessarily have to, but every page should also have one H1 tag. Now, under that, you can have multiple H2 tags. So here's an H2 tag, still relevant to what the page is about, ranking your business higher in Google. Those are things people might want to search for. 5 principles of our work, our process. These are all H2 tags. And like I said, you can have multiple H2 tags on a page. If I were to look at an actual client, you'll see the same thing. So their title tag is St. Louis window treatments, shutters, draperies, blinds, and shades. All of the main things they want to rank for in St. Louis. So you see St. Louis is the very first thing there. Their H1 tag is right here, window treatments in St. Louis serving Missouri and Illinois. So now we're going after terms like Missouri window treatments, Illinois window treatments, things like that. So you can see by mixing it up a little bit how you can take advantage of some opportunity to send different keywords to Google that you still want to rank for. So that's how the headings work. And they're very important. Again, for every page on your website, you need to have a main H1 or heading tag. So here it is, St. Louis window shades. That is the #1 thing they want this page to rank for. And just sending that St. Louis related signal back because they're located in a specific area, and that's where they want the leads to come from. So this page is particularly about window shades, obviously with mentions of St. Louis. That is the H1 tag. The title tag is St. Louis custom built window shades. So slightly different, but same end result, I guess, if you will. So H1 tag is part of the main template for WordPress. So it can be the title of this page, or a lot of the back-end builders let you control the H1 tag in other places. I don't think this one does, but you can control that in other places as well. So let's see, here's my heading. Lead generation for window treatment and awning companies. And I have this set as an H1 somewhere. I'm not sure where that's at. It's set as an H1 somewhere in here. Anyway, so that is the main heading on my page, and that is what I want to send them. So those are the 3 big pieces: page title, meta description. Those 2 pieces show up in the Google index against 9 of your competitors. And then the H1 tag, or the heading tag on your site, sends further signals to Google about what that page is. So very important. Doesn't show up in the Google index, but it does show up. They do see that as a major part of the algorithm and how they judge your website. So, all right, what can I do with this information? Well, I think a good first thing to do is to see which ones are working, which ones are not working, which ones need to be filled in. There's a couple different ways to do that. I've showed you the Ahrefs tool in the past. When you set up your account, you'll get this Site Audit tab here. So if we look at the Site Audit tab for Window Treatment Marketing Pros, you'll see that we score a 67. So I need to spend some time working on this site, but we'll get some information over here of errors. What are problems with the page? And what we're really after in this particular example is titles, descriptions, heading tags. So if we look through here, we'll see meta description tag missing or empty, 353 pages. So I've got some work to do when it comes to writing meta description tags. We don't see anything in here about title tags being missing, which is good. Nothing about heading tags. So that's one place to start. I can click on this and it will actually give me a little bit of information about what it means and then which pages are actually missing the meta description. You'll see it right here. All of these are missing, so they need to be filled out. That's something I need to go through and do, quite honestly. The other thing you can do is use a tool called Screaming Frog. And I love this tool, Screaming Frog SEO Spider. We'll let this load here. And all you do is plug in your, plug in your domain name. So I'm going to put in wtmarketingpros.com. I'm going to hit start. And what this tool does is it actually crawls your website, takes note of every page on your site along with the page title, the heading tag, the meta description. It also looks at a bunch of other files like CSS and JavaScript and a bunch of things that we don't really care about. But you can see that it runs up in the top right here. It's at 50%. So it doesn't take a whole long time to run. But when it's finished, what you can do is you can output a really cool spreadsheet that tells you every page, what that page's title is, what that page's meta description is, and what that page's heading tag is. It also gives you lengths of each of those. So title tags, you want to kind of use the 70 character range for those. You don't want to have a title tag that's 20 or 30 characters long. You're basically just missing an opportunity to put more keywords in there. The meta description is 2 sentences. I think it's around 170 characters, 160 characters. So they don't count characters, they count pixels. So if you use a lot of I's and L's, they're only 1 pixel wide versus a W, which is probably 8 pixels wide. So they count pixels and not necessarily characters. So that's why I can't really say it's a hard 70 characters. It's in that range, depending on what kind of mixture of characters you're using. So, all right, so this finished 100% crawl. Now what I can do is I can go to filter, only HTML pages. So I only care about the actual pages that people see on the site. And then what I can do is I can either look over here on this side, and I know this is kind of small, 172 page titles, 0 missing, 10 duplicates. So 10 pages have the same titles, which is interesting. Here's some that's over 60 characters. There's 2 pages that are below 30 characters, so those need to be fixed. There it is in pixels. And then how many of those have the same H1, so they match the H1 tag, which is fine. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I just like to mix them up a little bit, but that happens to be something that it does judge. So same thing for meta description. It counted 172, of which 100 are missing. Look at all these that are missing. That's not good. We need to fix that. 8 are duplicates. So these are pages that are showing up with the exact same meta description, as you can see here. And then same thing for H1 tags, 172 pages, 2 pages have them missing, 15 are duplicated, and you can see that's author archives and the blog, just pages on the blog, things of that sort. So, but anyway, this tool is pretty cool, because now what you can do is, let me get back to, how do I get to it showing everything right there. So I go to filter, HTML, and then I go to export. What do you want to call this? I'm going to call this WTMP internal. All right. So it dumped that to an Excel file that now I can open, and I can look at the data and see it a lot easier this way. So here is the page URL. Here is the meta description. Here's the title. And here is, no, that's not it. Here's the H1 for that particular page. So now I can see real quick which ones are missing. So this page is missing in H1. This one's missing in H1. I can go through this really quickly and get, build them, make new H1s, that kind of stuff. The other thing I like to do is just kind of delete some of this other stuff here so that I can focus specifically on title, meta description, and H1 tag. So if I delete all of these and then delete that, all that other juicy information, Now I'm down to just 4 columns. I can kind of blow them up a little bit to see them a little easier. So there's meta description, there's my title. Now I can start to see everything that's missing pretty easily. I really like using this because it makes it a lot easier to see what's working well, what isn't, and especially what's missing, right? So, and that is the Screaming Frog Spider, which is a free tool. You can crawl websites up to 500 pages with this tool absolutely free. You just download it, install it on your computer, run the reports, and it'll give you the latest and greatest information about your website. Pretty cool little tool. So that is Screaming Frog. I showed you the Ahrefs site audit tool, which is a great place to see all of these missing things. And this tool runs once a week. So what you can do is just start with this list. Okay, I need to start writing meta descriptions for all of these pages. And I would just find this page. So click here, go to this page, click on the Edit Page button. And this particular page is for our Window Treatment Marketing Pro Marketing Academy, which is over 100 how-to videos behind the scenes on all kinds of stuff. But I'll scroll down here and click on the Yoast area. And we'll see that there's no description. See how it says, please provide a meta description? Well, I don't have one in here, so I need to put one in here. So I'll just do access to over 100 how-to marketing and now let's do digital marketing and SEO videos, video tutorials for your window treatment or awning company. There we go. Now it's green. It explains what that page is about. So I will go to the update button, push that update button. Now the next time that this tool runs, it will find that particular meta description in here, and this number in theory will go down from 353 to 352, which is good. So you can see there is a significant amount of work that needs to be done, but that's just part of optimizing a site. There are a lot of things to do. All right, one other thing that I want to show you is alt tags. And alt tags are tags that show up behind pictures. Let me find a picture. Here's a picture, veteran-owned business. So this particular picture, what I can do is right-click on it, and click Inspect, and I'm using Google Chrome to do this. We get the code that shows the picture. So image, what the source is, and then alt equals veteran-owned business. So you can control what Google finds out about this picture. So Google can't, they can't see this picture. They know that there's a picture. They know there's some sort of PNG or JPEG or something there, but they don't know what it is. They don't have a way to decipher what the picture is. So what that does is it gives us an opportunity to tell Google what that picture is. In this case, the picture is veteran-owned business. Now, for SEO purposes, you could possibly put in some different keywords. So I could put in there veteran-owned window treatment SEO business. That would still be legitimate. It would still explain what the picture was. That would be a good way to explain what that picture is. So you have to explain what the picture is, but at the same time, consider keywords that could be put in there. Now, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to just go spam crazy and put all your keywords in every image alt area. But that is one way to do it. So I'm going to back up and tell you about the alt tag. The alt tag is alternative text. So Google doesn't know what that picture is, so they need some sort of text to match it up. So when visually impaired people look at a website. And believe it or not, they do. They scroll the web all the time. Since they can't see the picture, Google or their computer reads what the alt tag is for that picture, explains that picture to them. That's where the alt tag came from. It's very important for them, for ADA, to make sure that every picture has some sort of a description in it, but at the same time, also an opportunity to get a little bit extra keywords in there that still explain what that picture is about. So in the back end of WordPress, under Media, I'm going to do a search for my veteran, if I can spell it, veteran. And it didn't find it, darn it. All right, let's try, let's just look at all the pictures and see what's here. So, all right, here is, let's use this guy. This guy's swiping some files, all right? And this is a picture that goes along with our free keyword swipe file page. So we've got this page where you can download all of our keywords, right? Here's the guy swiping the file, you know, that is obviously has all the keywords in it, right? So in the back end here, what I need to do is fill out two things: the alternate text, the alt text, guy swiping keyword, or let's do window treatment and awning keyword file. Now I can just copy that and paste it into the title of the picture as well. I don't want to put a caption because the caption will then show up below the picture. That's okay. You know, it's just if you like that sort of design. I like not having it. So now I have the alt text in and the title of that picture there for that that particular picture. So let me update this. I think I just close it and it automatically updates it. Let's click it again. There it is. So it automatically saves it. All right. So now if I look at this page and I do inspect, I have not refreshed it yet, right? I loaded it before I uploaded or updated the alt text. So now we see the same code, image, source equals, and all this other stuff, but no alt tag in here anywhere. No alt tag. So if I refresh this page and then I do inspect again, now we're going to have the alt tag, alt text in there. If I can find, I might have to do a full refresh from the, let me purge this page from the cache. Wait for it to reload. I'm going to hit refresh again. All right, now I'm going to inspect and the code should be in there. There it is. Okay, it showed up this time. You can see it right here. Every time I mouse over it, it goes away. So, but you can see it over there. Guy, what does it say? Guy swiping window treatment and awning keyword file. So you can see that alt text is now in there. And by the way, you can resize this window to make it a little easier. There's a lot of stuff in here, right? But this is what we're after. This guy swiping window treatment and awning keyword file as the alt text. Okay. If I close the that extra window, when I mouse over this particular picture, in some browsers it will actually show the title of the of that picture. This one says share image, but typically it will pop up that little yellow window with the alt tag in it because I put it in that title field. So that's how you control your alt tags for every picture. So when you put up a picture on your site, you should be putting in keywords that match that particular page. Very important to do that for every page on your site. And that's how you do that. So alt tags, again, very important. And let me see what else we have. Okay, last thing is overall content. And we're going to go into a lot more detail with content next week in week 4 of the SEO challenge. But one of the main things that the search engines look at is content on your page. Two different things. Content, what we call above the fold, meaning there is content that they can digest before you start to scroll. Okay. So in this case, they get obviously the navigation. They get this, our proven system generates leads, window treatment awning company. They see that text, right? So there is some content before I have to start scrolling. Then of course, there is a lot more content down here. There's 3 paragraphs here, or 2 paragraphs here. There's another paragraph here. There's a decent amount of content on this page. And by content, I mean text, not pictures, not video, only text. That's all that the search engines can see is this text, right? So that's what they use to judge your page on and how well your page is compared to others. So if we go look at Sunshine again, you can see that there's a decent amount of text on their page before you even scroll. There's Drapery Gallery, Hunter Douglas, come visit us. Then you have some information over here. Of course, their navigation, also celebrating 50 years. And once you start to scroll, you'll start to get more. Here's a great piece of content here that explains who they are, what they do, that kind of stuff. This is tricky because what you don't want to do here is be doing your about us stuff, right? That's what's tough. It still has to be about you and what you do and what services and products you provide, but at the same time, not your company history, right? So it needs to have good information, should have some links in it, things like that. But overall, this page has a nice amount of content, and it's not even that long of a page, but it has good content on it. Every page on the site needs to have decent content. So the shades page, we've got obviously our heading tag. We've got a smaller heading tag. We've got a sentence or 2 here. We've got some pictures. Here's some nice bullets that kind of break it up. And quite honestly, another paragraph down here that just explained a little bit more about window shades would be good and would probably help this page rank a little bit higher. So having content on the page, very important. Don't forget all this stuff over here counts towards that. So one way that you can look at the content, and this is going to be a little technical, but important. What you can do is copy the URL on the page that you're on and do that site : but you're going to have to get rid of the HTTPS. So site : sunshinedrapery.com/product/shade. So, hey, Google, tell me what you know about this page. Okay. So there it is in the search engines. Here is the title tag. Here is the meta description. One really cool thing that I can do here is see this little down arrow. I can click on that and click cached. And what that does is say, Google, show me this page, but from Google's point of view. And we don't care about the rendered version, which means all the colors and all the cuteness. We care about what Google can see, which is the text-only version. So if I click on text-only version, this is what Google sees for this particular page. You can see they don't see pictures. All they see is this content. Here's my navigation. Here's the navigation some more. There's my H1 tag. There's my H2 tag. Here's some content. Here's a couple links. Here's some other content. So you can see what content they see. The good thing is they see a lot of it, but you know, this is all part of the sidebar area. So it's going to be same on every single page. So if they see stuff that's always the same, it's not unique. I'm not sure why these pictures these pictures are showing up only because there's content that they can see inside of those pictures. So they're not seeing the picture, they're seeing the content inside of those pictures. And that is what they see, which is just crazy, right? The difference of what they see versus what you think they're seeing. Text-only version is how to get that from the cached button in Google. So very important. As I said, we're going to go into content a little bit more in detail next week. But if your content is light on a page, not a lot of text, you need to boost that out a little bit, as I showed you with the window. I'm sorry, with the Sunshine Drapery Shades page. It probably could use another copy, a couple paragraphs of actual copy down at the end there. So, all right. So that is a overview of on-page SEO. The most important things: title tag, H1 tag, super important. Second would be meta description. Even if they don't count it towards your SEO and your ranking, it still shows up in Google. Needs to be relevant, needs to be compelling, needs to be short, needs to have some keywords in it. All of those things need to be compacted into those 2 sentences somehow. So very important there. Then we talked about tools. So Ahrefs is a tool that you can use to start to get the site audits of your particular site and go through and see what things are wrong. There are some more technical things in here that I'm happy to explain what they are in more detail, but if you got these things right, you're going to be 90% of the way to higher rankings, which is fantastic. And then we talked about Screaming Frog. That's a really cool tool that you can use to kind of bypass the process of figuring out what are my titles, what are my descriptions, do I have any duplicates, do I have any things that's missing, things like that. Love that Screaming Frog. I just go to Google and type in Screaming Frog and you'll find it. It's the only thing about a Screaming Frog, thank goodness, that's out there. And WordPress plugins, when it comes to that, there's 2 main ones: Yoast SEO or Rank Math, which is gaining in popularity. I like it. I like it a lot. And then lastly, alt tags. Important to get those in there. When it comes to a list of things that you need to fix, alt tags should be near the end of that list. They do influence Google, but in a very, very small fractional amount. So it's good to get them done and do them correctly, but should not be a main priority on your list compared to the other things we've talked about today. All right, that's it. Oh, lastly, content. Don't forget to put content on your page. You need, let's call it 450 words minimum. I hate to put minimums on things because then people try to do the minimum. If you can get 800 words on any page about any product, service, homepage, about us, anything like that, that's a much better scenario. I wouldn't go less than the 450 words, but I wouldn't try to get right at 450 either. I'd try to do more. The only trick with that is you don't want to just start dumping in a bunch of fluff. It needs to make sense. It needs to be relevant. And we'll talk about this in a little bit more detail next week. So thank you all for jumping on. That is the conclusion of today's part 3 of our 6-week SEO workshop. Next week is all about content, and I'm going to show you how to create it, how to come up with a schedule of content, a lot of really cool things that we'll talk about next week. And thank you so much for jumping on. We will talk to you in 7 days. See ya.